Welcome, Pisces, to your Pisces 2022 annual calendar year forecast and reading. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James, for those of you who are stopping by for the first time. Now, I'm going to draw 12 cards, one for each month of the year. Now, time is going to be a constraint on us, so we're going to get through them pretty quickly, but I will say this. In-depth, very in-depth esoteric and spiritual readings can be obtained by just going to the playlist on my channel, and you'll see the current month and the month before it. If it gets older than that, it just gets deleted so it doesn't clutter up the box. So these are the cards as they're coming out for you. They're looking pretty good so far, I have to say. And let's have a look. Well, January to June, you have the Page of Wands, the Emperor, the Nine of Coins, the Ace of Coins, the Eight of Coins, and the Star. It's fantastic. Fantastic for you. Let's have a look else, see what there is, shall we? Yep. And so I would encourage you to do that. By the way, I might also use my pen here to point out what I think are some of the interesting aspects on the paintings on these cards, which I think that you'll find interesting, and they add to subconsciously for you what is going on, and they evoke, I think, feelings that come from within what I call universal consciousness, that consciousness, that pure consciousness which is there and is shared by all beings, past and present. And those who are yet to come, I might say. Now, what are we on to? 4, 5, and 6, which is this one. Wow. That's the 7 of Coins, the Chariot, the 7 of Swords, the 8 of Cups, the Queen of Cups, and the King of Cups. I might come and stay at your place, I think, next year. Can I stay with you? I think that you've got such good cards here. I want your good luck to rub off on me. Okay, why don't you come now, sit down here next to me. We'll have a good close look at the artwork on these cards together while I do the reading for you. Right, I think you can see these cards. Now we're going to look at the art on each of them, because what the art will do is it will unlock energy from within your subconscious. Here we have first the Page of Wands. And let's look at it here. This looks to me as if it's somebody who has been newly freed. The reason why I get that is because you can see there's like a green shackle around the man's ankle here. He wears the colors of the suit of wands. There's a flower growing from his head. He's got a stout club with a ring around it, which he presses into the ashes here. He's wearing a lion's skin, and the tail of the lion's skin trails into the ashes as well. In the background here, there is a very lush jungle, which looks to me like it is in danger of being consumed by fire. Now, what we can say about this is, the first thing that I will say here is that during this period, I think that people who are Leo, Virgo, or Cancer are likely to be important to you at this time. Court cards, of course, can be either male or female, irrespective of how they are drawn. And this is somebody who is energetic. I think you'll be very energetic, very individualistic at this time, brilliant and daring, and actually very expressive in love or in anger. There's also a great degree of enthusiasm about here as well. What's going to happen is that with you will be creating your own beauty with your essential vigor and energy at this time. You will bedazzle, and as I say, in anger or in love, you will be sudden, violent perhaps, and implacable at times. I'll say this about you at this time, and I make no moral judgment about this, but you will not forget an injury, and the only patience that will be found in you during this period may well be the patience with which you lie in ambush, ready to strike and let loose your revenge. Here we go. Let's have a look at this card, which is... great. What a great energy as well. You know who this is, don't you? The Emperor. Here we go. Hello, Emperor. Well, the Emperor here really is the master of all he surveys that is around him. Now, he's sitting on a cubed throne with this red cloak around it. The yellow and the red are signs of power. He has he has a very impressive suit of armor on him, and he's holding a globe of the earth in front of him. Now, this hat that he has here, what would you call that material? It's a fur. Ladies, is that ermine? Is there such a thing as ermine? I'm not sure. I'm not up on fashion myself. Now, he sits above and controls these elements. And the elements depicted here are in some ways apocalyptic. They demonstrate the apocalyptic power of the elements to sometimes wreak havoc. Here we have the air blowing. Here we have lava emanating from a volcano, so that's earth. And here we have some buildings on fire, so that's fire. And here we have a ship which is being lost at sea. Now, for me, he is the son of the morning, the chief among the mighty. What he's saying to me is that, look, there's a lot of, I'd say here it is Mars ruling Aries with the sun exalted. So therefore, there's a combination of energy in its most material form with the idea of authority with you at this time here. I think you'll be primarily controlled with power or control, or concerned, I'd say, rather, with power or control over people or over yourself. I think you'll be seen as being a natural leader and organizer, and you'll use willpower and judgment as a result of your life experiences. Now, there's success coming to you in this time, and it's success through discipline and application. You'll be a rational thinker. Status, I think, is going to be important to you, as is material security and stability. There's this desire of pioneering, of seeking new things, of setting out to become a discoverer, certainly to initiate new projects. There's a great degree of creative wisdom with you. Great leadership qualities is what I'm getting, and an urge for action, new beginnings, order, and structure. The establishment, the status quo are going to be important to you at this time. And you may well be taking a stand on something. You'll be firm with yourself and others. And if you're in the workplace, you may well be promoted to a more senior position. And if you're not in the workplace externally, you might be, I think, trying new things around the home, maybe new recipes, looking at new ways of makeup or hair or clothing, or you may be looking at things, thinking about things to do with garden or beautifying the home. What do we have here? The 9 of coins. This looks great. Hello, 9 of coins. Here we go. Well, here are the 9 coins set out. Now, set out on these coins, and I don't think they mean much, are goats' heads. They're just depictions of the heads of goats on there. What is important, though, is this path which winds its way through the coins. And you'll see at the beginning of the path here, there looks to be like a precious ring of some description. Here, there is a man who's stopped, and he's turning back, and he's saying to himself, did I just walk past something which possibly could be of value? I think what you might be doing is, you might go back and revisit something that you looked at before or went past and said, wait a minute, I'm going to have a look at that. Maybe there really is something in that there. This figure here, well, this just strikes me as being the protagonist, which is in that famous deck, which I rarely ever use, which is the Rider-Waite deck, and that's the person, I think that's on the 9 of coins in the Rider-Waite deck. Here is a person, it looks like it's a lady, who has opened up her umbrella ready for the coming rain shower, which now this is for me, the Lord of material gain for you, the Lord of material gain. It's Venus in the second decan of Virgo, the 3rd to the 12th of September. Now, Venus, as you know, is concerned with love and money, and they are both expressions of your values, your pleasures, and your tastes, and so on, aren't they? Well, you'd be crazy if they weren't. And Venus is saying to you now that if your heart is pure and you follow your heart, your life can only gain from this, and good fortune is going to attend your material affairs. Virgo is an earth sign associated with practical matters, with discrimination, and with organization. So I see things here as the beginnings of material security and self-sufficiency for you, the beginnings of financial and personal independence, definitely a reward for your efforts, realizing your goals. Projects, situations, and relationships will produce material gain for you. There's going to be love bonds around here as well, and a wisdom within you. Great degree of creativity, and understand this, the golden rule: the more that I give, the more that I receive. And this card here really hammers that point home. Let's have a look at it. Well, in the painting here is a winged cherub. There's a little aqua, and it's blindfolded with this red ribbon which goes around it there. There are 2 flowers at the bottom. Now, this cherub is holding up a disc. Now, notice the roots which are all dripping from the disc. This suggests to me, and it's something which I actually believe, well, I know myself, that everything in the universe is alive. Everything has its roots into everything else, and everything is connected. Looking at the particular items in here, this is a snapshot of life, and almost of the golden age, because in the front here is a casket full of gold. Now, cavorting here, naked, is a queen and a king, and they are eating grapes. There are 2 fruit trees here, I'd say from the Garden of Hesperides. There's a man playing a flute. There is a child playing. There's another child playing. And there's a naked couple dancing below this, what I would say is a golden calf, and above it is the ancient Egyptian goddess's crown, the goddess of Hathor, who is about prosperity and desire. And by the way, here is the head of an ox and a little lamb, and they're lying down together. This is the root of the powers of the earth. And what it's saying to me at this time is that it's the beginning of something. See, aces are about potential. You need to make them happen. And it is the beginning of something tangible, of prosperity and growth, of material abundance, improving finances. Getting again this idea of promotion or doing new things. There's good luck around here, and possibly some unexpected money coming your way. You'll have a deep well of grounded, practical organizational ability for the next, 12 months, I would say. There's inner and outer richness here, great success, the unification of body and soul, material, spirit, heaven and earth, a wholeness here. And people important to you at this time will be Gemini, Aries, and Taurus. Let us have a look. These are all fascinating paintings, aren't they? Don't you agree? I think they are. What's this? Okay. Now, it just so happens that I happen to know as a fact that the artist has drawn this of himself. There he is, the artist. There's his wife, and there is his daughter. And in these 8 coins that are surrounding, he has put in there paintings of the various cards that are contained in this deck. And we've seen one of them, which is the Emperor, that's there, and we're going to see another one, which is the Star coming up. But otherwise, it's the Magician, it's the Popes, it's the Empress. This is, can I just quite make that out? That's Strength. There's the Star, as I said. There is Judgment, and there is the World, and he's up here on this ladder, almost as if he's painting a fresco or something like that. And that's his cat, which I happen to know. So that's what that drawing is there. And that's the little baby. Oh, it's good to see children around. Now, what is important here is that I think that I'm really getting the Sun ruling the first decan of Virgo here, that 23rd of August to the 2nd of September. Now, I also have here in the number 8, mystically, an association with the planet of Mercury. Now, what's interesting about this is that, as I say, I have the Sun ruling the second decan of Virgo and Mercury here. Well, in astrology, Mercury is also the ruler of Virgo, and Mercury is also exalted in Virgo. So this is very favorable. And here, the Sun in Virgo, well, the Sun energizes Virgo's hard work and attention to detail. Now, this card can produce and signify pregnancy and birth, so you may hear of pregnancy. And if any of you are waiting for grandchildren, this might be the time that you get news. Now, you know how we were talking about, with this card here, about new beginnings and there being the potentials for gains and things coming here, and that you're starting different projects. This card is saying, yes, that is the case, but it's also saying that at some times, once you have started something, there is a strength in doing nothing at all. Sow the seeds, set back and wait for the harvest. So I think it's time for you to take calculated risks, to be careful with your money. I think learning an education and upskilling could be a useful thing. Yeah, pay attention to structure and detail at this time. It's also about not overextending yourself or underextending yourself, but rather being in the sweet spot where you are able to survey the whole of the landscape. There really is the flowering now of internal and external richness. Again, this wisdom here, development, carefulness, prudence. These are the issues and the messages that are coming through for you at this time. Here we go. Now, see, here's this star card, and here she is here. Hello, my darling. What do you have to tell my friend here? Well, here she sits, the star, naked, beside a stream, I suppose you would say. This is a Rosicrucian rose that's growing there, and it is reflected in the water, and her long blonde hair covers her naked body. Now there's an 8-pointed and a 5-pointed star up above. Now in her left hand here, she's holding a vase. Now the style of architectural pottery at that time was, the very simple form was called Doric, and she's pouring it into the water. And in her right hand here, she has another vase, which is a style called Attic, which is more sophisticated. That's just a beautiful, beautiful scene, isn't it? Now, she is, for me, the daughter of the firmament. Now, I have here Saturn ruling Aquarius with Neptune exalted. Now, Aquarius is all about the individual and uniqueness, and yet it has an overall humanitarian outlook. Well, the star shares these qualities in that it is reminding you about the divinity and uniqueness within you, and asking you, encouraging you, compelling you to be a conduit of bringing down your highest potential that's here. This is a time of inspiration, a sort of a divine inspiration coming, crystallization of ideas, self-recognition radiating outwards at this time. I've got to tell you, this is also telling me that this is a period in which you are going to be very sexually attractive to other people. So just deal with that as well you may. But that's definitely something that's coming in here. You'll have great charisma and magnetism here. This is also saying that your vision will be clear, I think. There's hope here, happiness, opportunities, and optimism. Really cosmic blessings coming down upon you. Trust in yourself, connection to universal intelligence, and maybe even a connection in meditation to universal love itself. Next, we have this one. A 7 of coins. Well, here we have the what I assume are the pages of the various suits of this deck, playing cards, gambling, and here at the head of the table is the winner dropping coins down here. Now here's one of the pages having thrown in his hand. There's nothing more to give. This guy says to himself, I've got a few down here, I've got some in my hand, I'm going to bet. This guy is just mesmerized by the coins that are coming down, and this guy here is sort of holding his own, I think. I think he's probably quite a good player. Now what's interesting is on the 7 coins that are here, let's just see if I can make them out. Oh, this looks like a baby asleep in a crib. This is a chest of gold. This is now in Catholic tradition, there's a thing called purgatory, where you burn off sins before entering heaven. And this is a soul in purgatory praying to come into heaven. This is the chariot of Saturn. This is the moon in full. There is a lily, and here is a fully grown and lovely producing fruit tree. Great degree of productivity and fruitfulness around all of this here. Now the 7 of coins, the astrology of it for me is that of the moon ruling the 3rd decan of Aquarius, the 9th to the 18th of February. Now the moon, the emotions of the moon, and I'll also say I have a mystical association with the planet Venus with the number 7 here. But those emotions of the moon cloud the intellectual qualities of Aquarius. We were talking about that in the star card there. Aquarius, therefore, is therefore weakened, and it's got that interference by Venus as well, that emotional interference, and this maybe gives you a lack of clarity. It's as if you can imagine an opaque pane of glass that you might have in a bathroom, for example. You can't see through it. You can see light, but there's sort of a lack of vision going through it, to the extent that you may then think, oh, that is, unless you have been forewarned, you may feel that you succumb to feeling ineffectual. Or maybe what you do is you put off things, you mentally procrastinate doing things. This is, for example, you may put off doing things that really do need to be done. You might also be in a situation where you are doing just enough, that you're just coasting along, really in a sense, I think, working beneath your own good standards that are here. It might be that you have negative expectations about the outcome of things that you do, or fears about it. But really, these cards here with the star and with this chariot that's coming behind it tell you that this is not something that you should dwell on, because there are great things through here and even better things coming with this. So let's have a look at it. Well, here the charioteer rides a chariot which is sort of block-like in nature. This countryside here, I think it really suggests to me that area of Verona, which is at the base of the Alps in Europe there. Now the charioteer has a blue canopy with stars on it. He's holding a wand here with an orb, and in particular with an arrow which says that there is direction. You will know the way to go. You will go. It's almost as if you're being divinely guided along the way here. Now this Chariot here, I don't know if you can see this here, but there's a ring that's here of metal, I assume it's gold, by which the charioteer holds the reins of these two horses. This white horse is arcing up and the dark horse is going down. This refers to our spiritual inclination, and this refers to our carnal inclinations. The thing about the charioteer, of course, is that he has to keep the two in balance. Now, I've just noticed this. Have a look at this thing in the middle here. Do you see this sort of green thing? That looks like a seed. The way these horses' tails have come up, it's produced like a seed thing, and the tails then become wings on the seed. And that, to me, signifies the great potential for growth of things that now are before you. Now, this is the child of the powers of the waters, the lord of the triumph of light. It is the moon ruling Cancer with Jupiter exalted. This is speaking to you of victory over adversity. You might have come through a difficult period, which could have been through here, but you've now overcome it, and you're having the courage to act. You've had success over previous negative patterns, and I think there may be a focus here on self-discipline for you at this time, possibly also rest and contemplation, but you'll be moving towards higher goals at this period here. There's a new beginning, a change for the good. There's triumph over adversity and overcoming problems, and you'll be having success with, I think, little or no support from other people. Now, you may also be coming to the aid of somebody else, which of course is always good because it is blessed to give. Here's another 7. Well, this is an alchemist, I would say, and he has discovered and applied the secret of immortality. The reason why I say that is that he is actually a very old man. He's lost all of his hair, but his face here is that of a child, which is indicative of immortality. Now, he is in this area here undertaking some alchemical process, which is symbolized by the rainbow here and by the raven. The raven, incidentally, is flying off with a gold ring. I assume it's one of his rings. Now look at these swords coming down. What they do is they hit the ground, but it's the hilts that are interesting to me, because these hilts have on them, these are half women and half bird. Now you might see the breasts of the women, the bare breasts of the women, and the wings of the birds. They're harpies from Greek mythology. And, well, you can look them up without going into it now. But what they do is they take this process and then they emit it off almost as poisonous vapors into the atmosphere itself. Now, I think what's important here is that I'm getting Saturn in the 3rd decan of Taurus. Saturn is the slow-moving and restricting planet, and Taurus is the plodding fixed earth sign, and together they talk to me about stagnation, maybe some delay in payments. It's important that you look for long-term results here. Now, this was talking also of sometimes sitting back and waiting for things to develop by themselves. And this is being reinforced really at this thing here. It might be that your ability to deal with things is being blocked by some dire or fearful expectations. Well, of course, the thing to do is just to step back and analyze it, because it's not the end of the world, and whatever you have in mind, it's not going to eventuate the way you do. You might have to wait for money to come in. There is slow and steady growth here, though, however. You might have a fear of failing to do things. There may be a fear of failing. And see, that fear is a great thing because it actually stops you from doing things that you're able to do, because you always imagine the worst. You never imagine the best. We don't tend to do that. We always tend to imagine what could go wrong rather than what could go right. Well, this is saying to you, now is the time to imagine what could go right. What do we have here? Eight of Cups. Now, this isn't this a romantic scene. This looks like a crusader with his blue cloak here, back from one of the crusades, embracing his beloved lady in the pink dress, and she is reciprocating. Oh, don't you love that? Now, what do we have in these cups here? These, or jugs or vases, whatever they may be called, but you get the idea because it's a suit of cups. Now here, in this picture here, there is a youth admitting his sins to a priest or friar. Now here is a puppet theatre. Puppet theatres were the big thing in town in those days. There were no YouTube videos for anybody to look at. Over here is what? It's a procession coming through a part of the village, and there are girls above throwing down flowers and stems on the people below. Here is an eagle that has snatched a frog. Oh, this is some mysterious veiled figure here. Here is a lady who has been frightened by a spider. This is a very remorseful prisoner sitting in a jail cell bemoaning his situation. And here, what is this? Oh, I think that this is somebody who is exorcising a demon. Now, I've got the idea of Saturn around here again. I've got the idea of Saturn in the first decan of Pisces. Saturn, of course, is structure, organization, discipline. It's a heavy energy. It's about responsibility. You know, all those things we hate. Whereas you, Pisces, it's intuitive, spiritual, fantasy-like, and emotional. And I get the feeling that there's a chance here that Saturn may come in and deaden completely the waters of Pisces. Saturn could dominate and suffocate the joy of Pisces. And there's also for me in the number 8 here, mystically, the planet of Mercury. So we have the flightiness of Mercury present here as well. So the overall influence astrologically looks like dark Saturn with no growth. Now the other thing is that Mercury is in detriment in Pisces, and so we have conflict here as well. However, it's not all bad at all, because what I do have numerologically with the number 8 here is about manifestation, practicality, skill, and in particular, decision. Firm decision that you will make. So I think that there's a time here where there could be some lethargy. You might feel like you want to give up on something, but again, you shouldn't do it. Make the decision, which is being said here in the numerology of the number 8, and it's going to turn out well. Here's the Queen of Cups. Again, another lovely painting by the artist. Now there are 3 things floating on the water. First of all, there's this galleon. You can see it here on the horizon. Then there's this scallop shell that's sitting there. And down here you see like a little tiny paper boat. And I think the artist has just thrown that in because he can do, because he's the artist. Now here there is what looks to me, with this veil around it, and a crown with a heart on the top. This looks to me to be a nun, a Catholic nun, or maybe an Orthodox nun, but a nun, and she's standing just the way of Venus by Botticelli. Exact same way. This looks like Botticelli's Venus, actually, this figure. She has golden hair which has come loose from her veil and is blowing in the wind, and this cup here has got a couple of wings on the bottom, and there is the figure of a cherub on the front of it. Well, the first thing is that she is really, I call her the queen of the thrones of waters. Now, the people important to you at this time are going to be Gemini and Cancer. This is talking about someone, and again, these court cards can be male or female, but I'll refer to her as a she for the obvious reason, okay? This is a woman who is very intuitive, rather than someone who over-intellectualizes things. She's somebody who is a keen observer, quite dreamy, quite tranquil, poetic, really, kind yet passive, and somebody with psychic awareness, I think. You're getting this sort of psychic awareness coming out of her. She shows emotions openly. There's a great degree of motherhood around here. Is it November? You're going to take on the energy of people around you. So it's very important that you take negative people out of your life. It's very important at this time that you don't put up with the idiots. I sometimes get the feeling with you that you can attract idiots like moths to a flame. And what is important is that you don't deal with them at this time. Sing your own song and go with that. Then it's going to be a very good time for you. And who do we have at the end here? For December. What a great way to finish the year by the looks of it. Well, this is the King of Cups, and it seems to me to be depicted as if it's Pope, by the look of the face, Pope Leo X of the Renaissance period. Let's look at some of the things on him. First of all, he's got this he's holding in his right hand this cup, because it's the King of Cups, which if you were to turn it round the other way, it would actually be like the papal tiara, wouldn't it? He's got on the colours of red and yellow, which are of power. His, what do you call this, stockings or hose? Red and green. They're held together with garters, or they're held up with garters made out of hearts that are there. This is the Cathedral of St. Peter's in the Vatican in Rome. Now, in the left hand, he's holding the hand of an angel, this sort of fair-headed angel here. This angel is holding up like a Chinese umbrella, keeping the sun off the Pope's head. Actually, he's depicted almost like an altar boy, I suppose. Here we have the blue robe of the kid, and with seashells on the side of it, which is, of course, connected to the suit of cups. Down below, there are what I would say renditions or goes or trial runs at the Mona Lisa by Da Vinci. Yeah, that's what they would be. The Lord of Waves and Waters, the King of the Hosts of the Sea. That's who he is. Now, I think what this is talking about is there's a commitment issue around here. Now, I don't know whether that's a commitment issue that you have with something or with somebody else, or that somebody else is not making a commitment to you. You will at this time, I think, be, in good spirits, but kind of passive in a way. You'll be attracted to excitement. You may actually have an unsustainable enthusiasm to things at times. This is a good position to be in at this time of the year. You should surrender to your beloved ones. You'll have a tremendous capacity for giving, and you'll be reaching higher emotional planes. And there might be, again, this sort of feeling of this spiritual renaissance which is coming through you with this Renaissance deck this year. You'll have an increasing spiritual relationship with the divine. That's the way it is for you this year. Well, I thought that was fascinating, didn't you? It looks like you're going to have a fantastic year ahead of you, probably your best year ever, if I'm any judge of these things. Oh, I think you've got everything going for you, and so you should have too. Now remember, I want to see you in the monthly readings, so don't miss out on those. They're far more in depth than what we've just done now. But until then, remember one thing, and remember it always, and it is that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next time. Until then, it's bye for now.